Hello everyone. So today I thought I'll share a story. Today it won't be anything technical, but it's like my story how I got into my first startup. So this is like 2 or 3 years back. At that time I didn't have any credentials. Like I didn't went to college. I still don't have a degree. Also I didn't have known that much programming as well. I was quite a bit of dabbling into programming, like touching things here and there, but no ways I never shipped any applications or don't know how to do things end to end. So this is how story like this is how I got in my first tech job. I think if anybody is trying to get into a tech job can like learn things from here. I got into my first startup before I even have a degree, and definitely I wasn't an expert at coding or programming. In fact I didn't know that much programming. Like I just dabbled here a bit here. I was very curious about computers. I also was interested in Linux, but programming in Linux, even though both are intertwined, if you know Linux doesn't mean you know programming. So the first thing was like, before I joined a startup, I actually participated in an online hackathon, and I built a small project. If I'm not wrong, it was on Next.js. I built it. At that time, Next.js 13 app router just released, and I was like Next.js 16 is the latest version right now. So I built a blogging website in the hackathon. It was a Web3 hackathon, so you connect your MetaMask wallet and you can publish a blog. That whole hackathon track got cancelled because there were no participants in it, but I still made the project. And the main issue is that the project actually doesn't work properly. Like if you connect your MetaMask wallet one time, you can only post one blog. So like for each blog you need a new account. So that's a bug, and it didn't also work properly. And then fast forward, let's say after the hackathon, a few weeks later, I went for a tech event, and the founders were talking about the whole blockchain. So this is pre-AI era. That's blockchain was the hype, and they were talking about blockchain, etc., etc. And I just approached them and asked them, hey, can I be the person work with your company or something? They were a very small startup. They were like 4 or 5 people, and I was the outside of the, like, they were a bunch of friends who already knew each other, and there were a total of 4 or 5 people existing in the company, and I was the new one. And the founder asked me like questions like, do you know Next.js, do you know JavaScript? At that time I don't know, like I didn't know most of them. Like I written some basic JavaScript application, but doesn't mean I know how React or Next.js work. I actually showed him my project, and what I did was like, hey, I didn't said that a user can only post one blog post. I said, hey, this is a privacy feature where if in the same account, if a person was able to post multiple times, then I said like they can fingerprint your handwriting or how you word things. So it's a better anonymization strategy or something like that, so that each account can only post one blog. I just babbled something at that time, and I guess it worked, and I got into my first startup. And during my, let's say, 1.5 months at my start, I was working like 12-13 hours a day. Like I didn't know most of the things. I was quite new to a lot of things, so I was just keep on learning and building things up. And I was pretty slow, but eventually things worked out. So the main 3 lessons I'd like to share is that ship things, but even though they are imperfect, you can actually show things to them. In fact, I actually got into another startup where I built a really shit voice to text application, and the founder saw it, and I also got into that startup. That is a interesting. So built a lot of things even though it didn't work for them, and just put it publicly and show your work, as Austin Graham says. You can just put in, if you're in your tech groups, just post it. You can post it to YouTube. So main thing is that even if the product's not perfect, it's better to ship it. And the second thing is that go to events, I would say. And initially the starting, like there's a big ROI when you go to events, and most of this, when starting out, most of the events would be free. You just need to travel over there and just talk with folks. And also, even though if you're not ready, just try approaching them. Like they like sometimes things just work out. So yeah, even if you're not ready or if you're not expert, just go there And with tech and now with AI, you can learn things on the go. So just say just go there and try to pitch yourself, and sometimes you might turn lucky. So yeah, my first advice was basically to ship things even they are not perfect. Go to events and talk to a lot of people as possible. The third thing is that say yes and then try to figure out things after that. That's a really good advice. So that's the overall idea which I like to share with you, and hope you learn something from this. And yeah, thank you and have a nice day. Bye.